What if you could learn to benefit from real-life tools that expand your faith and widen your perspective to see new possibilities for your life? Well, let me invite you to join us for our Word on Investing Summit, Money, Faith, and Mindset. It's a live virtual event. At the summit, you'll spend 2 days with world-renowned Christian business leaders and million-dollar entrepreneurs like myself, the Benham brothers, Dr. Myron Golden, and many others from the comfort of your own home. We'll be speaking on how your mindset, your walk with the Lord, and understanding economic principles from the Bible are the keys to unlocking your next level of financial potential. If you're looking to find a renewed sense of purpose in your financial and spiritual life, and make no mistake, they are connected, make sure to grab your ticket to the Word on Investing Virtual Summit happening April 22nd and 23rd, 2022, because registration will close soon. Get your free ticket at TRADEway.com/summit. That's TRADEway.com/summit. Hey guys, I'm David Mitchell, founder and CEO of TRADEway. What if God Himself gave you a blueprint for how to handle your money? Well, the Bible is a practical book. Let's dive in and see what it has to say about wealth, about risk, about leverage, and about investing, and uncover how trading in the stock market can be a powerful tool for moving towards your biggest goals. We're so happy you're here. This is the Word on Investing. Hey guys, welcome to the show. You know, at TRADEway, we talk a lot about the stock market, right? But we talk about more than that. We talk about the idea of using the stock market and stock trading as a family business. Why is this so important? Because you can pass the skill sets down to your children and your children's children, as the Bible says. And when you pass those skill sets down, that creates the potential for generational wealth. And that's really what we want to talk about today. Not so much the stock market, but the idea of the family business. It's a very biblical concept, by the way. Kind of think about Abraham and you'll get the picture. Well, I'm really excited to have my friend Shane Sams of Flipped Lifestyle on the show today because he's all about having a family business. I think you're going to love what he has to say because he's got some amazing energy. He's a great guy. He's so real. He's the real deal. Welcome, Shane. So good to have you on today.
David Mitchell, it is an absolute honor to be hanging out with you. I love it any chance we get to spend some time together, man. And I can't wait to talk to your audience about creating a little income and get that family business started in their life too.
Oh yeah. And you know, if I can get you going on what you do, by the time we're done, you're going to have everybody want to do it. That's just the kind of guy you are.
That works, man.
You got me and Charlotte all excited about what you're doing. And do that. Let's start this way though. You know, I've heard your story, but our audience has not heard your extraordinary story, and I want you to tell a little bit of it. Leave us some time to talk about some other stuff too, but tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to the place where all of a sudden you own this company called Flipped Lifestyle and what it's all about.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. 10 years ago, man, I was not an entrepreneur. I was not a business owner. I was actually a school teacher down in Southeast Kentucky. Taught U.S. history and coached football. My wife was also an educator. She was an elementary school librarian. Man, I did everything I was told to do growing up. I went to school, went to college, got a degree, got a job, got on that railroad track, baby, just looking for retirement 27 years down the road, 27 and a half. That's what I had to get to, right? I was aiming for that point. And David, man, I had a horrible situation happen one day. I found out that my son was being abused in a daycare center. And I went in that day and asked for the day off. And my boss told me no. She said, I know your son needs you, but your job needs you too. And you're going to have to handle your personal problems after work. And that was a pivotal catalyst in my life. I realized I had traded my family's time, my family's life away for a little bit of security, a paycheck. And I made the decision that day that I would never work for anybody else again. I would take control of my income. I would go make my family's income with my own two hands. And I would never have to ask to be off work again for my children or for any other reason. That's what led us down the rabbit hole that helped us discover online business and helped us discover memberships. We actually started two companies after that event. One was called elementarylibrarian.com. My wife created lesson plans for librarians. And she actually, it's really hard to be a librarian. You got to teach 5 classes a day. all 5 different grades. So the prep for all that is incredible. So Jocelyn made lesson plans, put them in a membership, and she got librarians from all over the country to join this thing and pay her $50 a month to have access to this library, have access to this community, and have access to Jocelyn, the leader of the elementary librarian community. I started a product called Coach XO, and I started selling playbooks to football coaches. So I gave football coaches a forum to come talk about plays, and they didn't have to worry about their neighbors stealing their plays, because the guys that were playing on Friday, they could talk to people from all over the country, and we sold them playbooks. And long story short is, we launched this company. The very first month, we actually replaced one of our salaries. It grew every single month over the next year until August of 2013. A year later, we made the same amount of money, $36,000 in a single month, that we made in a year as our teaching jobs. And that's when we went all in with online business. We quit our jobs. I resigned in the same office that boss told me no. It felt so good to slide that letter of resignation over. And the first word out of the principal's mouth was, "Are you going to finish the football season?" I wasn't even worried about inside of the history teaching or anything like that. Yeah, man. We were good that year, man. We were on track to make the playoffs. I said, yes, I'll finish the football season. But what happened, we were kind of just going about our life, like making money, passive income on the internet. And a friend of ours at church said, "Hey, this is amazing what you guys are doing. I have a dream to homeschool my children, but I can't do that if I'm working full time, and we can't afford for me to quit. Do you think I could do what you guys are doing?" And we showed her how to make content. We showed her the membership model that we teach. We showed her that you can go out and get 100 people to pay you $50 a month, make $60,000 a year, all on the internet from home. And wouldn't you know it, man, 3 or 4 months later, she quit her job. And that was kind of when God put it on our heart, like, man, if this worked for us, a real family, a couple kids from Southeast Kentucky, and this worked for our friend Lindsay and JT and their family, like maybe God has put us in position to go out and teach this to the world. And that's when we started Flip Lifestyle. That's when we launched our podcast. And since then, we've helped thousands of families create online businesses in their God-given passions, knowledge, experience, everything from chicken farming all the way to pharmacists. People have created these amazing businesses in our community.
Man, that is so cool. I was about to ask you to give me some real life examples, but you just did of people.
I got more, man. I can tell you some crazy stuff.
Well, all right, tell me a couple of crazy ones.
The craziest membership that I'll tell you about is this lady named Teresa Perleyberg. She lives up in North Dakota, and she came into our community. And she said, "Hey, I've got an idea for a business." And I'm like, "Okay, well, tell us your idea." And she said, "Well, I do this craft. It's called needle felting. It's kind of like crochet, but more niche." And I'm like, "Well, that's pretty niche if it's getting more niche than crochet." And she's like, "But I take this sheep wool and I make teddy bears. So I want to teach people how to do this." I'm like, "That's a cool idea. Is that the whole idea?" And she's like, "Well, no, I also shear my own wool. Like I go out and I shear the wool off of the sheep. So I want to teach people how to shear the wool, dye the wool, and then make the teddy bears out of the wool." I'm like, "Okay, that's great. Is that it?" And she goes, "Not exactly. I also raise the sheep. I have my own sheep farm, and then I shear the sheep, and then I dye the wool, and I do the thing." And I'm like, "Teresa, this is getting really, really niche. So you want to create a sheep raising, sheep shearing, wool dyeing, needle felting membership?" She's like, "Exactly." And I'm like, "All right, whatever." So she goes out and we follow the process. We make content, we build community around this hobby, and she's positioned as the leader, and she goes out and creates content on the thing. And wouldn't you know it, David, she goes out and gets 400 members to pay her $50 a month. She starts making $20,000 a month in her sheep shearing, wool dyeing, needle felting membership. And it got so big that she actually added another subscription where she partnered with another local sheep farmer in North Dakota, and they started supplying wool to the people who didn't want to, raise the sheep.
Right.
And then they bought an elementary school. And they turned an old elementary school, they turned the gym into an event center, and they turned each room into an Airbnb. And now they fly people to North Dakota to sit around and build wools out of needle felting. So that is by far the craziest. If your niche is anything not that obscure, you're going to win.
Yeah, so she had the whole vertical business all the way from the supplying all the way to the top. That is just amazing.
We have a lot of farming memberships. There's a guy that raises backyard chickens out in San Diego named Kenny Triano, and he's got 200 people paying him $40 a month, and he just talks about chickens all day. Like that's all he does. But it's also professional people. One of my favorite memberships is a lady named Blair Green. She lives down in Arkansas, and she's a pharmacist. So she's really professional, put together. And she realized that pharmacy was changing. It was becoming a commodity. Pharmacists were being treated more like cogs in a machine, and they were kind of losing that, on their own business kind of feel. They were all being snatched up by Walgreens and all these things. So she started a membership where she teaches pharmacists how to add services to their pharmacy so they can build a moat or protect themselves from being defeated by these cookie cutter pill pushing pharmacies like Walgreens, CVS, and things like that. So now she has this huge membership making like $40,000, $50,000 a month where she's helping pharmacists. So it really runs the gamut of all the way down to the most obscure hobby, all the way up to the most professional of professional business owners. If you go online, the world is your audience, and you can go out and you can build a membership community around anything and make your living and make your income on the internet. That's fantastic.
I mean, we talk a lot about the idea of the family business. And you've heard me give my thoughts on it, but I'm not sure I've heard you give your thoughts on this. What do you think some of the biggest benefits of owning your own family business are?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's always been about being there for what matters most, being there for my kids, and not having to worry about pressures from anything else that would prevent me from being there. So having your own business, having your own family business for me first is about the family. When I went to that boss that day and I asked for the day off and she told me no, I did leave, by the way. I didn't accept that. I walked out, probably could have been fired, to be honest with you. But I knew that there was something wrong with that situation. And what I wanted to create that day, I wanted to not just make a bunch of money. I wanted to create a family business so when my children needed me, I could be there for them.
Right.
And that really came home to me about 3 or 4 years later. My son's babysitter called me and she thought he had broken his neck on a trampoline. And I had podcasts that day. I had stuff to do. I had all kinds of things going on, but I dropped everything, went there, and I was there for him. Thank God he didn't break his neck. But when we got in the car, my son said something to me I'll never forget. I said, are you okay? And he looked back at me and said, yeah, Daddy, I'm glad you were there. So that to me is what the family business is right away. I'm there. I'm here. I'm available and I'm present and I control that for my life. But the other thing too is just teaching different values. One, you can create your income. I want my children to know if they want to work for someone else, that's fine. You can choose that in your life. Maybe God's made you to serve somebody else, but you can also do this on your own. You can create your own income, right? And if you can control your own income, you can be involved with each other. It's not just we go to ball games. Just last night, we pay our kids. They're on payroll. They're Isaac's 12 and Anna Joe's 10, and they pack all of the mailings that we send to our members, right? And we have a little sticker that says "Packed by Isaac and Anna Joe," right?
That's great.
I want to involve them in money making. I want to involve them in. We're building this future, this thing together, right? And also just impact, we're all going to die. We're all going home someday, David Mitchell, every one of us,
Yep.
I want to know that my family tree has been impacted by me and my life and my legacy and my kids and their life and their legacy. And, if you're not passing, you can pass down careers and you kind of remember that back. But when you're passing down the values of your family business or the family business itself, that kind of echoes through the generations, which ties it back to your moral center, your God, your religion, your faith, and all those things. The past, my dad, his dad, right? So that's the kind of things we're looking for is our kids are going to learn income. Our kids are going to be involved. Our kids are going to impact, and their kids are going to be impacted by what we do today. And that's what family business kind of means to us.
You know what? That last one means so much to me because someday out there, 4 generations out in the future of your family, those kids are going to know Shane and Jocelyn's name. But how many of you guys out there listening today can name your great-great-great-grandfather, you see? So, but in my family, my great-grandfather's name was C.L. Brown, or they called him Captain Brown. And all of my kids and grandkids know this man's name. They know what he looks like because he took us out of poverty into potential for wealth. And he decided, I'm making a change. And he did that for us. Well, you guys have done that in your family, and all of our listeners, you can all be the Captain Brown, or you can be the Shane Sams of your family and be that person that makes that decision.
Here's another thing that's amazing that I've just started grasping this like lately. Like my dad's dad, like I've got like one old tape recording of his voice, right? Mm-hmm. And beyond that, other than the lineage of our family, I could never do this. But like what I've realized in the last couple of years, I've been a podcaster, I've been a content creator. Like I literally have thousands of hours of digital recordings of me having amazing conversations with people like you, me having amazing conversations with Jocelyn. We have like 300 podcasts we recorded together. And in this world that we live in now, not only is the internet the greatest cash income building opportunity anyone's ever had, but it's also this legacy building tool where all of these digital assets are going to be there. So my great grandchildren may look back and say, man, this all started there. Let's go back and listen to great grandpa Shane. Let's go back and listen to great grandma Jocelyn. And when you become an online business owner, you open yourself to this podcasting world or YouTube or content creation, you're not just doing things now to make sales today. Your children, your children's children, and beyond will be able to go back and hear your wisdom. They'll be able to know exactly what you thought. And heck, by then they may be able to program us into a computer and talk to us, David. I don't know, but I'm going to make sure that they got as many words I can spew out of my mouth into this microphone before that time. So if they can do it, that will come to pass for my great grandchildren.
Yeah, I think Elon Musk is working on some way to, attach a chip to your brain. They can just put your voice right in their brain. That'd be awesome.
I do like. I want to keep the motor mouth though. I like to move this jaw. Says my favorite thing to do is talk. So even if he chips me, I'm still going to talk out loud.
Oh, that chip will have video of you in there too, along with the audio. So, this occurred to me now from the time that you two figured out how to do this business and replace, more like you make in a month what you made in a year as school teachers. So you more than replaced your income, and now you have time freedom too. What are some of the things that you've learned since you first started out that actually, if you'd have known them when you started, you'd have done it different? In other words, things that would help cut out some of the learning curve for your new students.
I think the best way to say this is like what we learned and then the truth that we discovered, right? Like we were taught a couple things early on when we were getting into online business, or we discovered a couple things that were kind of not true. Like the first thing is like this, this passive income mentality, right? Like this set it and forget it. Everything's just going to work. It's the internet. You can do that. I'm not saying nobody does that, but I'm saying it's a very, very small percentage. You got to roll up your sleeves and open your wallet and invest your time and treasure into your family's future. You're not going to go out there and just build. So that was the first thing. There's a lot of leverage. Like I can make a course and 1,000 people can watch the course. So I'm not saying there's not a lot of leverage, but it is going to take work. It is going to take effort. It is going to take time to go out and build, a great future like for your family. Another thing too that really was a disservice to us, and I'm so glad that we sniffed through this in the very beginning, was it's not about your passions necessarily. It's not just about doing what you love. And like, what if what you love is walking down a beach in Thailand? You're not going to make any money doing that. Like that's not true. So we actually focus a lot of our energy and we steer our people away from that passion discussion in the beginning. And we focus on knowledge and experience. You need to learn into the things you're trained to do, the skills you're developed. You need to lean into the experiences, the seeds that God has planted into your life that has taught you valuable lessons. That's how you really reach back and provide value, which people will pay for. Your passions can come later. I mean, you've been around me, dude. I am passionate about flipped lifestyle. I'm passionate about families and them starting online businesses. Like I get to do this because I earned the right to do it by talking about what I knew first, which was football, right? And the experience of coaching. So those are the two of the biggest lessons that we learned. It's like, don't try to make it all passive and set it and forget it. Forget the 4-hour work week. Try to find something that you really enjoy enough and care about enough to work 50 hours at it. And you don't ever feel like you're working. And the second thing is like, forget you will get to do whatever you want. I promise. But focus on your skills, focus on your God-given talents, knowledge, experiences. It's like Exodus 35:35. God made us embroiderers, weavers, skilled at all kinds of craft. Like focus on the craft and those skills that God gave you. Those are the two biggest things I tell people coming in to make sure that they're on the right path. They don't get discouraged and then they can actually build something that creates legacy.
Wow. You said, you put out so much wisdom right there. It's hard for me to even go back, remember them all and comment, but I can remember them because here's the reason. The reason what you just said is wise is because all of it is based in scripture. And I'll show you what I mean. And there's so many false things put out there about how to get wealthy. And I've heard them too. You're one of the few people I've heard agree with me on this. There's so many people say, oh, well, find what you love to do, figure out a way to make money doing it, and you'll be a millionaire. That is not true. What you need to find is what other people need and want. Meet their needs, meet their desire. Now, the other couple of things you said that are so great too, though, is there's a lot of preachers on TV that say God wants everybody to be wealthy. And the thing they're getting wrong is that they're pretending that God's promise of wealth to your family is unconditional. And if you study the Bible, you'll find it's not. It's a conditional promise, where God says, if you do this, 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 and this, then I'll make you be wealthy. All right. So a couple of those conditions you mentioned, one is diligence. Like, you don't just sit there and try to make it where you push a button and it just sits there and makes money for you. You need to work at it. You need to put effort and zeal and your life into it. And that's what the Bible teaches, diligence. And the other one was that I thought was so great what you mentioned is, take skill sets that you have that could help other people and share it with them. Because one of the great conditions that God says, if you want me to bless you with wealth, you need to do is he says, get knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Well, knowledge and understanding, the modern term for that would be skill sets. So you're teaching skill sets and sharing those with others. That's why it's working, Shane. I mean, you've lined your business right up with the Bible.
What I love about Exodus 35, right, if you read it, and that's kind of like our foundational verse, that whole story is about God building the tabernacle. And God with a word created the entire universe. So why on earth did he not just speak the tabernacle into existence? Mm-hmm. He didn't. He purposefully gave all those people different skills. He purposefully gave all those people different leadership abilities to bring those people together. And he put us in place where we had to rely on each other and go into fellowship with him to build the tabernacle. So like, if you make it all about you, like if it's like, well, I'm really good at weaving the tabernacle's curtain, but I really want to put those poles in that hole. This is ridiculous. So I'm going home. Then nobody gets to do it. And it doesn't matter at that point if you like it, love it, whatever. You're not serving each other with your skill set. When you do that, here's what happens. The satisfaction of what you create together is tenfold what you ever could have loved to do on your own. Right. So that's why we lean into that, man. It's like, God, just go with your knowledge, go with your experience. The passion and satisfaction will flow through that. And it may even evolve into something else, but you got to start there. And if you start there, you're in alignment with God. And if you're in alignment with God, you're on the path to be successful.
Yeah. Well, that's funny because what you just said lines up with the very next question I wanted to ask you. So let me ask you this. If you look at everything that you and Jocelyn have accomplished to this point, of replacing income more, 10 times, I don't know how many times more than that you've done. And you've built this system, it's changed your life, your kids' lives for the future, your grandkids and kids' kids and kids' kids and so forth. And all of the new friends you've met around the world that are doing this with you. So what's more fun to you at this point? The money that you make and the time freedom you get from that, or helping other new people figure out they can do it too? Which is more fun?
This is divine, brother. Let me tell you, I was at the coffee shop this morning, right? And I was, I do money twice a month. I like to look at the numbers, just make sure everything's, secure and that we're doing a good job and staying focused on it. And I was sitting down. I usually kind of start with a gratitude journal before I even touch the money. Like I want to be grateful before I even see what's happening, plus, minus, whatever with money. And I was just thinking today, I was like, gosh, I know so many people in so many different places. Like I got a text message this morning from some friends in New York. I got another text message from a friend in Utah. I'm talking to you in Texas. I'm over in Kentucky. Just got back from Colorado, hanging out with this mastermind people. And like to me, man, like that's why I do this. It's just like the people that I'm connected with. The money thing's interesting. Like once you reach a certain point, you've kind of solved the income problem, right? And that's the income problem for most people is what stresses our security gland out, right? It freaks us out. But I know how I can go out and make money. Like the money thing is interesting. We can always make more. That's more of a game at this point. like, how much can you make? Like, I want to do $1 million a month. That's something I'm setting a goal for 2022. I want to do $1 million in sales in a month. Like, but that's a game. It's not because I need $1 million.
Right.
But man, it's the people, dude. It's like, when we get a message from one of our members, we just had a member cross last night, 100 members. She got 100. She had 102.
Wow.
And that's the magic number for us. We know that once you get to 100, you're on your way. Like, that's the floor now. Like, that person
probably replaced the income right there.
That has replaced her income. She's not going to have to go back to work. She actually quit her job 6 months ago to give this a shot. And she's at 100 members now.
Wow.
Dude, when I see that, like, it really feels like people are moving from death to life. Like, it feels like something has changed in that family tree. And we celebrate those moments at Flipped Lifestyle with parental pride. Not just pride, like, look what we did or look what they did or we helped them do it. It's like my kid getting the back tuck at cheerleading for the first time, or Isaac hitting a 3 in a basketball game. Like, it's parental pride, and we share it. We tear up. We talk about them. And, I get to do that now. And that's pretty amazing to me that God has given me this opportunity. I don't know why. I don't know if I don't think I deserve it. I don't know how it got to this point. I don't know why we're in this position we're in. But I just feel like that's like that moment where I'm doing what God wants me to do. And the money doesn't feel like that way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All that stuff does. Even the inheritance of the children's children. Like, I'm supposed to do that because it says it. But like, that's what feels pretty amazing is I feel like I'm building the tabernacle, man. I feel like I'm just showing people where the hole goes and they're dropping the pole in. I'm showing somebody where the tie off is and they're doing the tying off. And that's what makes me feel good about it on a daily basis now.
Yeah. Wow. That's so well said, man. Well, that's why we do what we do at TRADEway too. It's when we see the eyes of that new person say, I could do that. I could buy options and leverage every dollar where it's worth $7 or $14 and get that leverage. I could do that. And that's what it's all about. You know that, Shane. I know it. So you answered.
I think we're innately supposed to like do our thing, but there's also we're supposed to give each other hope. That's why we spread the gospel, right? But like,
exactly.
When you can give someone hope in their wealth or their finances or their family's future, that's alignment, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, do this. Tell our community here how they can learn a little bit about your podcast and start learning your amazing skill sets. How can they find you? How can they get started?
Yeah, man. I mean, if you love podcasts, I've got 2 of them. That's the best place to check us out. Every single week, we've got the Flipped Lifestyle podcast. It's a little bit different kind of show. I actually bring members onto my show and I give them a 1-hour coaching call in their niche. And I let everybody in the community listen in so that they can learn from the call. Had a great mentor, Christian mentor, a buddy of mine named Cliff one time said, Shane, you can't reach everybody all the time, but you can do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. So I do for one what I wish I could do for everybody, coach everybody one-on-one, but then I let everybody listen in so everybody can learn from it. And then I have another show called The Shane Sams Show, where I interview experts, authors, successful people, trying to figure out what makes them tick. I've actually had the only David Mitchell on the program. If you want to go check out that episode.
Absolutely.
That's right, man. And if you ever want to get started, we let everybody get started for free in our program, flippedlifestyle.com/free. You can get 30 days for free inside of our community, get access to all our trainings, all our community. There's nothing dripped or nothing held back. We really want you to get in there and try it, see it, and start it, and take your first steps for your family too. So all those places, the podcast, flippedlifestyle.com/free. If we can help you in any way we can, we will.
Oh, that is so good. All right, guys, check that out. Now, I want to see if I can tie this together now, because think about this. If you can start your own family business, teach your children and your children's children the skill sets, and now have the biblical, you've done the skill set thing and the diligence part. And there are other things like a closer walk with the Lord that come into that too. But you're starting to fulfill those commitments that God says, if you do that, I will create wealth in your family. All right. So you could get tied into this flip lifestyle and begin to learn to take the skills that you know and share those with other people and replace your income. And now you got time freedom and you're working at home with your kids, or however you want to structure that, by checking out what Shane just said to do. So, go check that out, and you think about if you want to leverage it more. Now you take the money that you make from that business that you create with Flip Lifestyle, and now you can start taking the excess money and learn how to trade with it. And then you have the potential to exponentially grow that. And then once you create a lot of money, you take maybe 80% of it and put it in longer term, more highly diversified, safer investments. And now you got the whole component. So
that sounds like a plan, David Mitchell.
Yeah,
that sounds like a plan.
There's a plan for you. Well, Shane, I don't know that I've ever had a more enjoyable guest on than you, my friend. So we're going to have to do this again pretty soon. I really enjoyed it. And yet, like I said, I was able to be on your show recently, and it was so much fun.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the opportunity to come talk to you. And man, any chance I get to hang out with you for an hour, I'm on it. So you just say when, and we'll come back and do it again.
Absolutely. Sounds great to me. Well, guys, you're not going to want to miss our upcoming Word on Investing virtual summit on April 22nd, 23rd, 2022. You're going to hear from Shane, you're going to hear from me, as well as our other special guests like Dr. Myron Golden, the Benham Brothers, and more. So don't miss it. Register for your free ticket today at TRADEway.com/summit. That's TRADEway.com/summit. Now come back tomorrow because we're going to have another awesome show featuring Ryan and Jamie Smith. It's going to be fantastic. We'll see you then.